Regina makes 2 dishes so easy, even a bachelor with no experience in the kitchen can turn out a good meal. A rich and flavorful caramelized onion torte and 3-cheese green enchilada casserole. Today on Regina's Vegetarian Table. Regina takes a tour of the grocery store convenience aisle and makes a bachelor-friendly smoothie. And wine expert David Berkeley makes his wine selection of the week.
Today's program is dedicated to that footloose and fancy-free individual that finds himself likely dining alone much of the time. In fact, we're going to point it a little bit further toward the single male. Now, I know it's not right to stereotype because a lot of you watching the program are men and you know how to cook just fine. You're great in the kitchen. However, the kind of guy we're talking to today is not above considering a glass of wine and a bowl of popcorn a substantial dinner. And in fact, that's exactly who's going to be coming on the show a little bit later. One of these types of men, however, our sous chef, Chris Cochran, is not among
Well, I started
that
out
breed.
to be. When I was first a bachelor, I did have the regular cube steak, chicken fried cube steak dinner or something like that. But then I got into food and started making full dinners and
I started out making chicken fried steak too. So I mean, we both come a long way in this one. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about some of this that we're going to be making a quiche out of today. These are basic.
Real.
Oh, did I say quiche? Torte.
Frittata, torta. That sounds better.
Okay, does it sound better if I say we're making a nice,
much better,
caramelized onion torte?
Yeah.
You feel more masculine now? Okay.
We got some onions, we got some, yeah.
So these are good basic, wouldn't you say good basic earthy guy ingredients? We've got eggs, we've got onions.
We got cheese.
Cheese.
Nice, good, smelly cheese.
A little bit of butter, some milk, some balsamic, and this is actually very easy to put together. And the nice thing about this kind of dish, you don't have to put it in a pie crust. That's the only thing that turns a nice Italian torta. Actually, no, that's not true.
Speaking of tight, I need to check my pie crust.
Yeah, I had you put it in there. Is it all right?
Not quite ready.
Okay. We don't want to get it too browned because it's going to brown a little bit more. But the only difference between a frittata and a quiche is the crust. And in fact, you just call a quiche in Italy, you don't put the milk and the cream in it, and you just call it a torta. So whatever's going to settle better with you. We're going to find that this dish is something that you can put in the refrigerator and then just take a slice, nuke it, and have it for days on end. So that's one of these convenience dishes.
I'm sure the pie crust is done by now. Let me get it out of there.
There we go.
Isn't it nice? What?
Chris, all right, we tried to make this simple for you guys.
Yeah, it looks
by
great.
Doing a pre-baked pie crust, right? Because I'm not going to put you through the torture. However, this recipe only calls for 1 pie crust.
What? Oh my God.
You know what?
It comes in a package of 2.
The good thing is you did take the plastic off. You want to pre-bake them,
but only
for about
1.
6 or 7
I didn't
minutes.
know they came in 2. I'm not a quiche guy. So. Hey, it'll
Well,
work.
maybe okay. Now we know why real guys don't like quiche.
There, see, it's pretty.
All right, this is going on the blooper reel. That's pretty
You
good.
gonna start sautéing?
I'll start sautéing, and as you know,
You don't have anything in there.
No, I know. I'm just putting them in a dry skillet that's over medium heat.
Okay.
This is about 2 large onions
I'm
worth
gonna
of
do
it.
something safe and just whip some eggs.
Would you please? Have you taken the shells off yet,
Yes.
Chris?
Only 1 egg per shell, I got that. So you're using broth instead of water,
Yeah.
which is instead of oil.
And as you know, that's sort of the usual deal for me. And you know, a lot of people think you can't caramelize onions unless you have the butter or the olive oil in there.
It just takes a little longer.
It just takes a little bit longer. Actually, the nice thing is if you're using a broth, it gives a little extra flavor to the onion. And then what I do so that you can approximate that same taste, which is optional. You don't have to do this, but I put a little butter in at the very end. That way you just kind of melt the butter over the top of it and you're not overheating the butter and turning it into something that is less desirable for the body. So I'll let you do that while these start softening up. This will take a few minutes.
Yeah, it'll take a little bit longer.
Yeah. You can see these are softening up now, and in a little bit, most of the moisture will be gone.
Forgot something?
Yes, thank you very much. And we're going to put a little bit of balsamic in here now. And this adds a really nice flavor to the quiche.
You don't want to use regular vinegar. It's got to have a nice
balsamic,
flavor.
no, it has a nice rich flavor because balsamic is an aged vinegar, right? It's aged, it's very mellow tasting, has a little bit of sweetness to it, and that adds quite a lot to the onions, particularly if you're getting just your garden variety yellow onion or white onion. It's not as necessary if you get, say, a Maui or a Vidalia or
Now, how are you going to know it's caramelized since it's already browned from the balsamic?
Because I'm going to actually let all of the moisture evaporate here and let it develop a little bit of brown.
Little scorch.
Little spots, little scorch on it. Once we have a little bit of scorch on it, then at the very last minute, we'll add the butter to it and let it melt down. So we're getting there, another couple minutes. Now smell this, tell me this isn't the real deal. Okay, I cooled this off just a tad because I don't want it to melt the cheese immediately. So we'll just put this as the bottom layer in here. This has a lot of flavor. It's a very simple tort with a lot of flavor. As you can see, there are almost no herbs and spices, just a little bit of salt, and the balsamic is where most of the flavor comes from outside of the primary ingredients. So we'll just cover this on the bottom, and then once you start sprinkling some cheese in, and what I'll do is I'm going to whisk in just a little bit of, you can go the French way and use a little cream in half and half, or you can use a non-fat evaporated milk. We're going to split the difference. This is not a terribly creamy quiche, so it's a cross between a quiche and an Italian torta, but just to give it a little bit of
body and richness.
A little bit of richness and additional texture. We'll just put a little bit of.
This is Gruyere. Any other cheese that would be good in this?
You can use any kind of hard white cheese, anything you like. You can use an Asiago, a Grana Padano, although if you're using those Italian-style cheeses, you want to use a little bit less cheese because they're intensely flavored and they have a lot of salt in them. This one, I particularly...
Gruyere is great.
I was sort of raised on Gruyere quiches, so that's still my favorite. We'll very gently pour the egg over the top, and let's sprinkle just a little tiny bit in the remainder of this before I go any further. Let's put a little bit of salt in it. You have to be careful again and know your cheese because cheese has a fair amount of salt in it. We've probably done about a half a teaspoon, wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 3 pinches.
Yeah, 3 pinches. So we'll put just a little bit of salt. And this is something, if it's not the way you like it, you can always salt it a little bit when you're eating it. And gently pour it over here. You want to open that up? Okay, thanks. Here we go. And this bakes at 375 to 400 for about 25 minutes. Ooh, et voila. So what do you think? Look at, isn't that perfect? Yum. Now what do you think? Could you do this? Would you do this?
Of course, I'd do it.
Would you do this?
Yeah, yeah, so. It's very, and it's convenient too because I could eat a slice now and refrigerate the rest.
Absolutely. Now, if you wouldn't go to this trouble, if you won't go to any trouble at all, if you're a just add water kind of guy, then we're going to go on a little trip to the health food store, but down the convenience aisle. Let's take a look at what's out there. Probably the most obvious place to go in stocking a bachelor's kitchen is the pasta aisle. And you don't have to go with boring sauces anymore. In fact, some of these sauces are absolutely fantastic. Here we have this company, for example, pine nut, port, and parmesan pasta sauce. That's interesting. Kalamata olive and Asiago, garlic, and roasted hazelnut pasta sauce. And the good thing about these sauces is you don't have to use them just on pasta. You can use them in egg dishes, such as, maybe as a topping for an omelet of some kind. They're wonderful with omelets. You can also use them to top pizza dough and make little pizzas out of them with a little more interesting sauce than the usual. So this is a really good stock item to have on hand. And of course, if you're going to use it in the traditional way, there is any number, variety of pastas available. Anything you like from this isn't exactly an angel hair, but it cooks up in about 3 minutes. A very fine little pasta that has a little bit of basil and tomato in it. Here we have some spinach and herb angel hair. I like angel hair personally, so I always keep a little bit of angel hair on hand and maybe, another 1 or 2 kinds of pasta. You can put this meal together in minutes. Now you might want to put a little salad together to round out your meal with your pasta dish. So you need to start out with a really good olive oil of some kind. Yes, if you can find an organic one, great, but just a good olive oil. And then you add a little bit of balsamic vinegar, or you can use another kind of vinegar if you like, but this is kind of a staple these days. That's all you have to do. That's enough. That with salt and pepper will make a dressing by itself. Just shake it up. If you want to add a little interest to it, we can go up here into some sun-dried tomatoes. These are packed in oil, okay? Just throw a couple of these little pieces of sun-dried tomato in with your balsamic and your olive oil, a little salt and pepper, put it in the blender and you have a dressing. Same thing if you want to put some roasted bell peppers in there. Here we have a spread. It's already done for you. Just mix it up. And these make wonderful dressings. You really don't have to go to a lot of trouble to make a good dressing. So give it a try. It's not as hard as you think. You're going to love this. It's called the Just Add Water aisle. And we have a lot of exotic dishes over here, for example, with various combinations of herbs and spices and noodles, rices, and vegetables. Thai Kitchen has a lot of interesting products in here. Also, up here, you'll like this even more because you don't even have to add water. These are available at a lot of gourmet shops and also a lot of different health food stores. You just take these and heat them up, and these are very good. Okay, now come on over this way. We're back to the Just Add Water aisle, and this would be kind of like the old hamburger helper thing, although all of these are meatless. They're soy-based dishes. They have all of the combinations of spices in with soy and rices to make a lot of interesting dishes in a pot, so to speak. So a couple of these, it would be nice to have a couple of these on hand. Another good thing to have on hand is a good marinade. They're good at the base of dressings. You can put vegetables in them if you eat chicken or whatnot. You can use them for that as well. And here we have all different kinds of sauces that you can use to marinate your vegetables with. A shiitake mushroom sauce, Thai peanut, teriyaki. Here, ginger is popular in garlic. Garlic tamari, ginger tamari. Should just take a couple of bottles of marinades, different kinds of marinades to use, and you can put almost anything together in 5 minutes with a good marinade. Also, a little bit of tamari or soy sauce, a shoyu sauce would be a good thing too. You can make your own marinades from these. Now, if you're only going to have one cheese on hand, I highly recommend it be a Parmesan cheese. And if you're going to do it, splurge and go for the real deal, Parmigiano Reggiano. This particular Parmesan cheese from Italy is certainly, I think, undisputedly the best. You can use it at the base of almost any dish. It can go with eggs, it can go with pastas, it can go with breads and hors d'oeuvres, mushrooms, all sorts of things. So get the real deal, Parmigiano Reggiano. One thing I've learned from Hollywood is that the only thing bachelors apparently eat after midnight are omelets or scrambled eggs. So if you have eggs at the base of your menu at all, and it's a very good, quick, convenient food, I recommend you get a really high quality egg. Splurge, you pay an extra $1 for a dozen, but here you have range and cage free. They're living outdoors, they're pecking around on natural grains and natural grasses, and you really do get a much better egg out of it. Usually they're brown, sometimes even white, and oftentimes you'll find a couple of green eggs in there as well. So go ahead and splurge and get some good eggs. Okay, maybe I've pushed you too far. Maybe you don't want to boil that water and add those other ingredients, cook those eggs or shred that cheese. In that case, do like a lot of bachelorettes do. How about a good box of crunchy cereal and cold milk? And now we have our special guest I told you about a little earlier in the program. This is the guy, Carlos Steeds, who has popcorn and a glass of wine for dinner, particularly during tax season. I already told him, so you might as well fess up.
Okay.
As your an accountant, so you gotta find ways to economize with time during tax season. However, tax season is long gone now, and we're going to do some real cooking. And I was told that you didn't really spend much time in the kitchen. Now I find out you have a Viking 6-burner stove and
a convection oven and a regular oven, but it's only for people who are invited over. I'm not that good yet.
Oh, in other words, it's for your guests. Okay, so your guests come over and cook. Now, okay, I'm feeling good about this again. And one thing you are proficient at, however, is grilling, right?
Oh, yes. You
Okay.
know, all guys are good on the barbecue.
Okay, so good. I tailored this one right. Okay, maybe the quiche thing wasn't the best call for the Bachelor show, but I know something grilled is, and this is really good. I haven't told him anything about this dish, nor what he's doing yet, so this is all a surprise to be revealed. But we're making a 3-cheese. You like cheese? Do you eat cheese?
Yeah.
Okay.
I love cheese.
Okay, a 3-cheese green enchilada casserole.
Great.
And if I do say so, it's really quite good, and it's very simple. You can see, you can get a lot of this stuff pre-grated. There's a little bit of prep because you have to grate some cheese. Now, would you go to the time to grate cheese, or would you buy
Oh,
the
no,
pre-grated?
I would grate it, no.
You would grate it, okay, good.
Usually with some wine.
Just take your time. Right. So we have some cheeses here. We're using cheddar, and then I like Grana Padano. I don't want to go as strong as the Parmigiano Reggiano because it just doesn't need that strength, but still, this has a good bite to it. And then for a little bit of texture and creaminess, we're adding some ricotta to make up for the fat in this. This is very low fat, yet we have a fairly high fat content in these other cheeses. And the rest of it is not bad at all. We're just talking about grilled vegetables with a quick brushing of olive oil, and we'll have some green enchilada sauce, and we'll talk about chilies and all that in a little bit, but first, you want to go ahead and start tossing this stuff on the grill?
Sure, do you want me to go ahead and put some olive oil on the underside?
Yeah, so it won't stick, and then you've got a little peppermill and some salt over there if you want to do that on the back side. Just to give it a little extra flavor. So how come you Bill, are you going to learn how to cook? Is that
Oh, yeah.
the deal?
Well, this is my springboard to cooking right here. So I'm looking forward to this.
So what you want to do is leave these on just kind of belly down for a while. Would you say 5 to 7 minutes or so till you get some good char lines going on it? This is looking pretty good.
And I'm getting
We're
better
getting
at
close.
it. Okay, let's take a look. I have these really good tongs.
Oh, they're looking good. I know, aren't those great kitchen tweezers? And in
They
case
are good.
something,
They're really
is out
good.
of place. I was on the other side.
These could use a little
bit
more, huh?
more on that. Okay, we're just about ready to assemble it now. Thank
All
you.
right, great.
Okay, let me get the dish and the tortillas. This particular dish is made with corn tortillas rather than flour because I think they have a lot more flavor and they absorb the moisture better without turning into goo. Would you like to put that up that way?
Sure.
Here we go.
All right.
Okay. And you use 4 tortillas on the not only on the bottom, on each layer. It's going to be a little thicker toward the center here. So why don't you start out with, let's put a layer of the onion and bell pepper across the bottom.
All right.
And then I'll put some cheese on top of that. In fact, we're going to use, I think we'll start out with a little of the ricotta. And then we're going to put a little enchilada sauce on. And a lot of the flavor comes from enchilada sauce. Now, I've gone for a medium, on the heat scale, a medium green enchilada sauce. So we want to
delicious.
pour a little bit of this over it, each layer, so that we don't end up dry here. Okay, and then, let's see, let's put a little bit of this on. There we go.
Looks great.
Yeah, this is good.
I think I could do this.
I think you could too. I told you it takes a little time just to prep the ingredients, but once you get into it, it's no big deal.
Same pattern?
Same pattern.
Okay.
And then let's go for the zucchini, and you can just kind of lay them out there.
All righty.
And on this one, we'll use a little grana padano. I'm going to follow along behind you. And then, do you want to put some cheddar in there as well? And let's see. Actually, I'm going to put the green chilies in at this point too, rather than putting them on top. Let's go ahead and make a second layer because we're only using 3 layers. Most of the time, tortillas come 12 to a package, so you're going to be using up all of them. And we want to use an entire small, which is about a 3.5 or 4 ounce can of chilies. Again, these are the hatch chilies from New Mexico. Sprinkle a little salt in there. Okay, you can see this starting to get gooey and good.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is, again, I've chosen medium, a medium heat, although you can go with mild. Last time I did mild, I had to add some Tabasco at the end, so. Okay, we're gonna save a little bit of this and heat it just before serving.
You need another layer?
One more layer.
All right.
And on that one, we're just going to put a little bit of cheese and enchilada sauce on top, just to kind of seal it off here, okay? Et voila. And then we're going to garnish it when it comes out of the oven with some
Great.
sour cream and tomatoes and clean this place up before the next dish.
That'll be beautiful.
You want to open the oven door?
Sure. This side?
This side. That's the broiler. Thank you. There we go. And that stays in for about 25 minutes at 375. And we're going to clean this up and we'll be back with the healthful libation. One of my favorite segments, the healthful libations. I love smoothies. I live on smoothies for the most part. What I like to start with is, you can start with juice, it doesn't matter, or you can start with a classic dairy drink, or in this case we're using a nut milk, soy milk, any kind you like. I really prefer to use something a little bit later because we're going to be adding some dairy to this. We'll make enough for 2, how's that?
Great.
So we have to start out with a little bit of nut milk, and then we're putting some yogurt in. And I like to put yogurt in because it kind of gets your belly off to a good start. So we have about a 1/2 cup. We don't have to put the whole thing in. We'll put about 1/3 of a cup of yogurt, 1/3 to 1/2 cup of yogurt. And then this is heavy on the berries. So we have some mixed berries here. We'll put maybe half this amount in. And this is not a science. You can kind of do it however you wish. And the nice thing is you don't need as many ice cubes because we have some frozen berries, and I love fresh strawberries.
All right, how many would you like?
Do the whole thing.
All right.
Can't have too many of those. And then for a sweetener, my preference is maple syrup. Now you can use a plain granulated sugar if you want to, or you can use no sweetener and just let the berries do it, but it comes out a little bit on the tart side, especially once you start adding these other ingredients. So I go for a maple syrup because you also get some additional iron and minerals and such. This is
great.
this is a pure maple syrup. It's grade B. This amount right here is about 30 grams of protein. You also have a little bit of protein, not a lot, from the nut milk, and then of course you have some more protein from the yogurt as well.
A lot of protein in here.
Yeah, quite a bit. And then finally, and this is one of my favorite ingredients in terms of health, I add some of this oil blend here. This is an omega-3 and 6 oil blend. This particular blend is a really fine balance between omega-3 and 6, which are the essential fatty acids that the body and brain have to have for proper health. And unless you eat a lot of cold water fish or salmon, we really don't have a diet very rich in omega-3 and 6 oils.
That's true.
And it really, and not only that, there's another little secret. It's the most wonderful thing for the skin. When you take it internally, you don't need as many moisturizers. Your skin feels like soft as a baby tush. It's really good stuff. So I put about a tablespoon in. A few ice cubes, and we'll start it low so we don't blast it all. Okay, it's looking like a smoothie to me.
All right.
You have the glasses over there? Oh, there we go. Let's see how this is. Tell me if this is something that you would drink for breakfast. Gary's my favorite.
I know I would without tasting it.
Let's see how this is. Pretty perfect as far as I'm concerned. How's it taste to you?
Oh, I need
They're
the
good.
recipe. I'll have to take it with me.
Yeah, this is good. Can't go wrong with
It
this.
is great. Oh, this is
How's
going
it
to be
going?
good.
I think so. Last time I made it, it was good. So we'll hope that our luck is holding on this. And a little bit of sauce, a little bit of sour cream. And as we're finishing this up, we're going to go to David Berkeley, who will tell us what he would pair with this enchilada casserole.
This enchilada casserole sounds a lot like an Italian lasagna. Layers of flavors, but the flavors coming from south of the border, not Italy. So let's go south of the border for our wines, but really south of the border, past the equator, all the way into South America, to two of the most important wine producing areas of the whole wine producing world, Argentina and Chile. Now, their wines represent excellent value, and I'm talking about quality for price. Two very important considerations for a bachelor who's entertaining casually and doesn't want to spend a lot of money. Now, probably the most important and successful red wine for Argentina is Malbec. It's best known as one of the 5 primary grape varieties in the region of Bordeaux, but it may end up actually being more successful in the Mendoza region in Argentina. I recently had an opportunity to have a delicious Malbec at a fiesta buffet, and I can tell you it was just perfect. Now the Chilean reds, well, their best grape variety is probably Cabernet Sauvignon, with Merlot to a lesser degree. I think you'll find they're a little more refined with maybe a touch more oak. They're also very good values, and Regina, when I'm talking value, I'm talking about wines that are $6 to $12. That's what I call value.
Carlos, thank you so much for helping me out on the grill today and with the knife and with the presentation here. Did you like these? What do you think? You had a little taste when we were
Oh,
on
it's
here?
awesome.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's going to
All right.
force me to start cooking.
All right, that's what I wanted to hear. Well, I have a little parting gift for you today, just so you would feel comfortable. I didn't want you to go away unsatisfied.
Oh, well,
Here's
you
some-
don't mind if I haven't.
There you go.
That's great.
Until next time, Asante.
To find out more about Regina's Vegetarian Table, visit our PBS website at pbs.org.